So generally, when people go to a search engine, if they get what they need at the top, in that, the first 3 listings of the organic area, they're not really going to go much further, unless there's other things that will tempt them to do that, like blogs, which we'll go through. But so generally, you want to be on page 1 of Google, and you want to be towards the top of page 1 of Google. You want to just get the video? Just got a quick video. So this guy here, his name is Matt Cutts. He's head of search and web spam at Google. And what Matt's job is to really keep Google, keep Google changing all the time and keeping up to date with algorithms. So what Matt does as well is he puts out a lot of blogs to users out in the market to help you understand how to make your website attractive for Google. So if you ever want to know a bit more about Google, Matt Cutts does a lot of videos, so you just search him on YouTube. And he explains things really well, really precisely, so it's quite good.
That's right, a few technical issues. Okay, so, Matt explains it pretty well in that video, but just to give you some scope of what sort of data is out there when he's talking about the spiders that Google sends out and how many web pages it needs to crawl. At the moment, Google's dealing with something like 60 trillion web pages. The spiders go out, I think, about once every 1 to 2 weeks, and the results get updated in the index. A new web page gets added to Google about every 1.6 seconds, so you can imagine how quickly things change. And one example is that you can submit a request to Google sometimes to get a page removed if you feel it's not the right content or if it's infringing copyright, something like that. Google receives 1 million requests of that every day. So the amount of data that they're dealing with is just incredible. How it groups those web pages is what we call an algorithm, which Matt explained in a bit of detail there. And we'll get into the penguin and pandas a bit later, but that's basically what Google uses to determine what the most relevant search results are for you. And what it considers to be most relevant in terms of the factors can change very often. Some include social media, some include the amount of links in, the authority on the content, all that sort of stuff. And that's what the algorithm does. Yep, and this is basically a summary of that. So you get the ranks, you get all these factors that come into it, and basically the end result is what you see in the results.
And the results can be video, they can be images, it's mixed content results. Whereas in the past, it was generally just web pages. So it's really interesting to see how they're incorporating more variety in the actual results that come through.
That's a very good point. It's actually quite a recent change that Google made called universal search. And you probably noticed about a year ago or so that videos started appearing in results. Sometimes if you type a question, a Wikipedia entry will come up straight away. And it's all stuff that Google is just adding to make the search experience more relevant.
It helps that Google owns YouTube as well. So I guess
yeah, well,
hand in hand.
That does help, yes. The other key goal of the algorithm changes is to cut down on spam. So to cut down on people who are trying to get to the top of Google by dodgy means, black hat techniques. They're trying to put keywords in there, stuff it. Just basically produce results that aren't relevant by tricking Google. And so one of the key things that Matt does is actually he's the head of web spam at Google. So that's very important as well.
One of the things they used to do in the past, sorry, while you get the video ready.
Yep.
One of the things they used to do in the past was you have a website and it might have a white background and then you put all the keywords in the background in white so you couldn't actually see them but they were in the website. So that's what Mark's referring to when he talks about keyword stuffing, is really just trying to put a whole bunch of keywords in the website. Now Google's cracked down on that quite a lot. Nowadays if you do put content into your website and you've got more than 1% of it, like a keyword mentioned more than 1% of the time, it's considered spam. So say for example, you've got a few different keywords and they may share a common word in between. If you're using that word over and over again, like say for example
personally.